I remember the stories that are told that there was only one police car, and so they parked it at the square, and when the phone rang, the fastest officer, the one that was in the best shape, they would all start running, and the first one to the car is the one who got to respond to the call. J.J. Ray then became the first police chief. He obviously served, I think he's the senior statesman of the police chiefs, and served, I believe, 28 plus years of service on two stints as chief, and it really gives you some meaning to the position.
Thinking back over the years, I don't think I ever put a handcuff on a prisoner. Didn't have to, really. You were just, okay, come here. You frisk him down, get in the car, and drive off with him.
We did have our ups and downs, but every chief that I served under made some improvements. Now, they weren't always accepted readily, as you know, but I think more than anything else was when we began to, training began to be our foremost activity, because we saw that as a way to make us more of a professional servant.
I went to the City Hall and made an application, and several months later I received notification to come take an entrance examination at the police station, which at that time was the old two-story building at the corner of Locust and College. I was fortunate. There was a highway patrolman teaching a 2-week school. So I took the examination on Friday. I was hired Saturday, and I went to school Monday afternoon at 6 o'clock, and at midnight I went to work with L.B. Odom.
We have officers that arrest a person on one day and they go back to the house the next day just to check on the family members and to make sure they're okay, and even check on the person they arrested to see if he had calmed down and how he was getting along. So it's really an amazing story of a community and community policing working hand in hand.
Most of the black community was glad to see it, but those that didn't want to be arrested and didn't want to obey the law, those were the ones that didn't.
It was a lot of good experience on there.
You would say that, oh, I know how you feel, but you would never know how I feel. How any other black person felt coming along during that time. They built the station down here where the water department is. They had colored restrooms, colored water fountains in there, but they finally taken them away. Integration, working together, new officers and young officers coming on. That was different from the old officers, and that made a difference. A whole lot different, better.
Brown and Willie worked the day shift, and we walked the fair then. And if you notice the picture there, see, they were just coming from the fair, and we were waiting for them to bring the car so we could get in there to go to the fair. So that's why our shoes are shining and they was all dusted up there.
You know, everything was segregated. And back in '54, our job wasn't hard, because we only had work in the black area, and we didn't do nothing else.
Really?
And most of the time when we got a call, we were well backed up. 2 or 3 cars would come to the same location sometime before we get there. The police at that time, they had to get used to us and we had to get used to them, because they wasn't used to no black policemen. Had never been in it. In fact, myself and Willie Johnson was the first 2 African-American police.
I really think following Ira Brown and Willie Johnson there, it was a lot of pride taken in those guys.
Being the first, I didn't think too much about that. It was I guess it was an honor, but it was hard. Of course, when I first went on, you wasn't really respected too much by neither race, black or white.
when I came here in '67. There was I think those were the years when the transition had started in law enforcement, not only in Tyler, but in other places, because we had TCLO, we started getting standards, requirement of basic certificates and those kinds of things. So it was a good time for me to get into the law enforcement. We went to Dallas and some other cities and got some good ideas, and we started a very structured screening program, which still is intact today. It's hard to put into words how much different it was when I came here, in particular the caliber of personnel. I saw a big change there, and I think that all goes back to our screening of the new hires and our recruitment. We started, hiring women in the '70s, and we actively recruited women and minorities, and that also made us a more diverse department, which better represented our community. We got officers to come here for maybe a few dollars less than they could in Dallas. It was because they liked the quality of life here, and many of them stayed, and some still here today.
I started May the 1st in '77. When I started, you came in, you were issued your uniform, gun, all your equipment, and then you started. Okay? No academy, nothing. You just started. The 6th month, you were just supposed to ride by yourself. So I rode by myself for about 2 weeks, and then I went to the academy. Yeah, we had the yellow cars, white top, kind of the greenish tape along the side. Calls a little different than we did back then. You went to a lot more calls by yourself back then. My training officers, we didn't have a book to go through. The only books, they told you to study the penal code, the traffic code, the blue paper. You got it on a typewriter and you typed your statement and signed it, and maybe got your partner to sign it if y'all were both on the same deal. And that's the only thing we had. It just keeps on going, and you keep on trying to keep a handle on it.
As police chief, there are ups and downs in a career. As my career has expanded now over 9 years, there's nothing that even comes close to 2005. Just the stress, the events that happened, the national media attention that the Tyler Police Department was exposed to and the city of Tyler was exposed to was unbelievable. And the fact that our professionalism shined in all of those events, on how well trained, how well we're prepared to deal with those situations that we were faced with.
It was a good experience there, and I think we really mold a lot there into in the community there.
Can't imagine people spending 30 years here and not have, for the most part, good things to say about the job. And there's very few things that I can say about it that would be negative, to be honest with you. This was a great job, but I don't recommend it to anybody that's not willing to commit themselves to it.
We're the best department in the country, and I would challenge anybody to go to some of these larger cities and try to get the service that we provide at the Tyler Police Department.
But I enjoyed it, I really missed the force there. And from that force, it still makes you have that authority. Sometimes my grandkids will tell me, "Papa, why do you talk to me so direct?" You're just used to that. But anyway, I've enjoyed it so much.
After we integrated, I was on so long, there's a respect that you got. People began to respect you.
I can remember when I came here, we had a few guys that thought that they could act just like anybody else in the private sector. I always had the opinion that should present themselves as if they were a pastor of a church, because they represent what especially children perceive as what's right. But I felt like that the standards for a police officer was just, we used to call it, had to be a cut above.
You take a lot of pride in that, because people are looking up to you and believing in you, and that means a lot.
what are you willing to give up in many ways to be a peace officer? Are you willing to commit yourself to this job? And because I know many officers that believe the same thing. I believe that it's a calling. Yeah, I felt it was a calling for me.
Tyler Police 911 is your emergency for police, fire, or ambulance. Yes, ma'am, I understand. We have police on the way if you'll give me some more information.